Hey there and welcome. You ever find yourself swirling a glass of wine, just looking at it and wondering what is it that gives it that deep ruby color? Or that drying feeling on your tongue? Or how it can somehow get better after years in a bottle? Well, today, we're going to uncork the science behind the very soul of wine.
I mean, think about it. What really separates a light, crisp white from a bold, structured red? It isn't just the grape. It's about what we manage to get out of that grape. So we're going to explore the invisible architects that are responsible for pretty much everything important in your glass. Okay, let's get into it.
The secret, it turns out, is a group of compounds called polyphenols. You can just think of them as the fundamental building blocks of wine. They're totally natural, they come from plants, and when it comes to winemaking, they're everything. They're in charge of the color, the feel, and even how a wine is going to change over a decade.
And the difference they make is just staggering. Seriously, look at this. A red wine can have somewhere between 800 to 4,000 milligrams per liter of these things. A white wine, maybe 50 to 350. That's not a small difference, that's a huge gap. And it's pretty much the main reason red and white wines are so profoundly different.
All right, so let's get to know these secret architects a little bit better. What exactly are they doing in our wine?
Well, the thing is, polyphenols wear a lot of different hats. They're the pigments, giving a red wine all of its color. They're also responsible for that textural drying sensation we call astringency. They add a little bitterness, sure, but also the structural backbone. They act as a natural preservative. And, this is the magical part, they change over time, which is what allows a wine to age gracefully.
But to really get a handle on polyphenols, we've got to start at the very beginning. And I don't mean in the winery. I mean way back, out among the vines, where the grape itself is created.
And what's so fascinating is where these compounds actually live. See, they aren't in the juicy pulp that gives us all that grape juice. Nope. They're packed almost entirely into the solid parts. The skin, the seeds, and even the stems. And this right here, this is the absolute key to everything we're about to talk about.
This chart makes it super clear. You want color? You need the skins. You want that texture from tannins? Well, you need the skins, the seeds, and maybe even the stems. The pulp? Yeah, that gives you the sugar and the water. But the soul of a red wine, that comes from all the parts that a white wine usually leaves behind.
And even before anyone picks a single grape, Mother Nature's in there turning all the dials. A little more sun, some higher temperatures, maybe a little bit of water stress. All these things tell the grapevine, hey, focus your energy on making really concentrated polyphenol-rich berries, not just growing more leaves.
So, let's follow those grapes from the vineyard into the winery. Now that we have these perfect little polyphenol packages, how on earth does a winemaker get all that good stuff out of the solids and into the actual wine?
The whole process comes down to one crucial word: maceration. And all that means is the amount of time the juice spends hanging out with the grape skins and seeds. For red wine, this isn't optional, it's everything. This is where the magic of extraction happens, turning what would be pale grape juice into a complex, structured red wine. And get this, not everything comes out at the same time. This graph basically shows you the schedule. That bright red line, the color, it gets pulled out of the skins really fast, peaking pretty early. But the tannins, those are a much slower, more gradual extraction that just keeps on going. The winemaker's job is to constantly manage this to get the perfect balance.
Okay, we've been talking about color and texture a lot. So let's zoom in on the two main types of polyphenols that every wine drinker really ought to know. The ones for what you see and the ones for what you feel.
So let's meet the stars of the show. Over here, we have anthocyanins. Their entire job is color. That's it. Simple. They come from the grape skins. And on the other side, we have tannins. Their job is all about texture, structure, and that famous drawing feeling. And they come from the skins, the seeds, and the stems. They are literally the backbone of the wine.
So what is that drawing sensation anyway? It's actually a physical reaction. You know that kind of grippy feeling you get from a young, bold red wine? Well, that's the tannin molecules in the wine literally binding with the proteins in your saliva. That reduces the lubrication in your mouth and creates that classic astringent feeling. It is chemistry happening live right in your mouth.
And the color from those anthocyanins, it's not set in stone. It's incredibly sensitive to its environment, especially the acidity or pH level. The best way to think of it is like a light switch for color. In a more acidic wine, that anthocyanin molecule flips on and shows up as this vibrant red. But in a less acidic wine, that exact same molecule can look more purplish or even blue. It's wild.
Okay, so let's bring all this home. Let's connect the science in the vineyard and the winery to the final experience. The science that you can actually taste and feel with every single sip.
When you take a sip of a big, structured Cabernet Sauvignon, what are you tasting? Well, among other things, you're tasting tannins, and a lot of them. That number you see, 1 to 4 grams per liter, that's the typical range in a red wine. And that is what gives the wine its powerful structure and the potential to age for years and years.
And what's really cool is those tannins don't stay the same. In a young wine, the tannin molecules are small, they're feisty, and they feel pretty aggressive on your palate. But as the wine ages, they start linking together into these long chains. It's a process called polymerization. And these longer chains feel so much softer, much smoother. That's why an old wine feels so silky. And eventually, they can get so big they literally just fall out of the wine as sediment.
And you know, the story doesn't even end in the glass. The very same polyphenols that protect the wine with their antioxidant properties, like the famous resveratrol, are also being intensely studied for their potential health benefits for us. It's just another fascinating layer to what they do.
Which really just leaves us with one final question to think about. After seeing this whole journey, from the sun hitting the grape all the way to the aged wine in your glass, what do you think? Is a wine's real character born out in the vineyard? Is it crafted by the winemaker? Or is it a final gift that's only granted by time? The science seems to tell us it's a little bit of all three.